In this video, we're going to step through my favorite example in the Robot Educator challenges, line following. We're going to program our robot to follow a line. I've got a fancy piece of paper here that has a really nice black line on a white background. And I'm going to use this, but you don't need any fancy paper. You can also use black tape on a white floor or any sort of a dark stripe on a light background. The hallways around my office have a great pattern in the tile that works really well for this. Okay, so let's go into Beyond Basics. And I happen to know that the example I want to do is in here under Switch. And there's often a video at the beginning that you can watch to get some idea of how this works. So there's the video. And let's just open this up. So typically there's an objective to tell you about the goals of this lesson. In this case, they're using line following as a way to teach you how to use the switch block. Again, we can watch that video if we want. And if we move over to page 2, they also typically give you directions for how to build the robot you need to accomplish this task. So you can click here to see how to do the driving base, or here to see the color sensor down. I'm not going to click there right now. And if we keep going, they've got this interactive animation where we can watch it while the video is going on to see what is happening, what blocks the robot is running at what given time. So let's run this. I'm going to hit play. There we go. And you can see it's kind of highlighting blocks over here. Now, the truth is, at least for me, I understand these things better after I've taken the time to put together the program myself than when I'm looking at these blocks on the screen like this. So let's move over and let's go into this Test It section. And in the Test It section, it says recreate the program here shown, right? And this is not the most beautiful interface. You kind of need to scroll up and down to see what's going on here. And you may need to kind of zoom in and out to see what's happening on any particular block. But let's start by zooming out and see what we can see. There we go. And I'll move it around a little bit. And it looks like we've got a big loop here, and I can see, I don't know if you can see, it looks like it's a loop unlimited with a switch block inside. So let's start, and it was a loop unlimited, so let me go in here and grab a loop, and that's already set to unlimited, so that's good. Okay, loop forever. Now, there's a switch inside that loop, and if I zoom in a bit, let me move it around a little bit and zoom in a lot more. Keep zooming until I can see what's going on here. There we go. And if you zoom in enough, let me stick my switch in the loop. You can see that there's this blue circle, and if you hover over the circle, it gives you a little bit of information about what's going on, and the circle's supposed to kind of draw your attention to it. So you really want to look at this, and let's see. So it says it's a switch, and it's actually going to be a switch on the color sensor. So let's change that, and it says it's the color sensor, compare reflected light intensity. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what it says. So let me go touch sensor. Not touch sensor, I'm sorry, ultrasonic sensor, compare. I want not my ultrasonic sensor, I'm sorry, I want my color sensor. There we go. A color sensor and compare, and I want reflected light intensity. There we go. So now it looks more like this. Okay. And let's just take a look at the top of that switch now. Looks like we've got two, well, these are motor bricks. These aren't even move bricks. These are just motor bricks, but they're green. So if I go to the green tab, we should see them. Here we go, and I guess that's the move tank. There we go, large motor. So that's on the top of the switch. So let's grab a large motor block and put it in there. Now we've never used these before, but that's okay. We can still look and see what's going on here. It looks like it has a circle here and a circle here, and that's really trying to get your attention. So we want to change this to port C. I guess that's the motor plugged into C. There's a big X here, so that means off. So if we compare the light intensity and it's less than 50, the reflected light intensity, the first thing we go up here is we go up and we turn the motor plugged into port C off. But then look, we're going to turn the motor that's plugged into port B, we're going to turn that, what does this say here? If true, large motor B on. So we're going to turn it on. So let's grab this motor. And we want to turn that on. And that's on at 50% power. Oops, and that's in port B. Okay, let's think about this for a minute. My right wheel is plugged into B and my left wheel is plugged into C. So the program said that we stop the motor plugged into C. Here, let me turn around so you can see. We stop the motor plugged into C and we're going to turn the motor plugged into B. So if I stop the motor on the left and turn the motor on the right, the vehicle's going to turn a little bit to the left. You see that? And of course, if I stop this motor, this is what we're going to do in a minute, and I turn this wheel, then we're going to move off to the right a bit. Okay. Okay, so this top path says my sensor is reflecting less than 50. So let me just show you what is my sensor getting. Let's click on port view for a minute. Let me go down here to port view. And there's my light sensor. Let's just make sure it's correct. Yep, reflected light intensity. So right now my light sensor is pointing, or my color sensor is pointing over the black line, and I'm getting a value of 6. So that is less than 50, so my robot is going to stop the right motor, turn the left motor, so I'm going to go forward and to the right. That sounds okay. And let's just take a look. If I'm over the white, if you look down here at port view again, now I'm flipping between 69 and 70, so that's super bright. So if we do the bottom case, we should be turning the other direction. Huh, does that make sense? Let's just watch the video again for 1 second. Let's go back and watch the video while we see this. So here we go. On the white, it turns left when it sees very bright, and when it's less, then it turns right. That looks good. Okay, so let's go forward. Let's finish off this program. So, and let's just grab the bottom half here. Let's take a look. So now we just got to do the same thing, except we're stopping the other motor. So I'm going to grab motor, and I'm going to tell, this time I'm going to say stop, turn off motor B, and oops, and after that turn on motor C at, let's change that to C, at 50%. So if it's too dark, we will turn off motor C and turn on motor B. So we'll move to the right, and if it's not dark, if we get a lot of reflection because we're looking at white, then we will stop motor B, turn on motor C, and we'll go the other way. That looks good. Okay, let's download our program and see how it goes. Okay, let's give it a shot. Pretty cool, huh? Let's stop it. Great. By the way, back in the tested area again, did you notice this note up here? It's worth reading it. It says, recreate the program shown and then download and run to test. Driving base not following the line? Click here to set the sensor threshold. So they're giving you more information. We lucked out because our white line was way above this value of 50 down here, and our black line was way below it. So checking whether the reflected light intensity was less than 50 was a good way of checking, is this black? And greater than or equal to 50, good way of checking, is this white? But if it wasn't, they give you a little bit of an extra hint up here. Okay, now that I've dragged you through reconstructing that whole thing from scratch, let me just show you one more thing. Did you happen to notice that the teacher mode icon is lit in blue here? If we go back, it's grayed out on this interactive animation page, but if we go into the tested page, it's blue. So what I'm going to do, let me just rename my program. I'm going to call this, I don't know, my line follower. And let me save my project. I already renamed my project to my switch.ev3. And now I'm going to click on this little teacher mode icon, and let's see what happens. Takes a minute. Let's try again. Here we go. And up pops this teacher notes section, and look at this. We now have two programs in our project. One is called My Line Follower, another called 01. And look at it, it's here. It says the sample program 01 has been provided on the canvas. And hint, the Port View app on the EV3 brick can also be used to view real-time sensor readings, so you can use the brick itself to look at what the sensor readings are. But look at what they've done. They have given you the entire, all of the code that we just struggled through copying it all down, and they've given it to us, right? So we have two programs. We have My Line Follower over here, which is the program that you and I wrote, and then we have this one called 01, and that's just a secret program that they've provided for teachers, and it was already written. So that's pretty convenient.